Alright, guys, I figure one more. Let's just pump that out. Because even though I'm a little tired, I didn't wake up till like fucking 4:30 this afternoon after being out all night for my birthday and everything. So, figured why not throw another video up here. And I was just talking to somebody earlier, and then I just saw a video from another friend of mine about Jeepers Creepers Reborn, which I wasn't too didn't have many expectations for, and it wasn't on the top of my list of reboots or remakes or whatever the fuck you want to call it to watch. And now, especially after hearing that it is terrible, like almost as bad as the third one, if not worse, is what I've heard. So that's just what I've heard. That's not my point of view or anything. I can't comment since I haven't seen it, but that's a fucking feat, man. Like if they were able to make a worse movie than Jeepers Creepers 3, I gotta see it just to tear that movie apart. Are you serious? And then that got me thinking of remakes and reboots. And then I said, oh shit, that's right. I never did the Friday remake to close out the series. So, Friday the 13th, 2009, directed by Marcus Nispel, who I said in my Texas Chainsaw 3 video. He directed that also. And I said in that video, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is one of my favorite remakes from the 2000s forward. And by far my favorite remake of all the classic slasher franchises. Friday the 13th, the whole series, I love it, man. This remake does nothing for me. Like, it really doesn't. And the more I give it another chance, this is maybe the fourth or fifth time I watched it since in theaters, it just gets worse and worse for me. It's not a bad movie at all. Like, it looks good, it's directed fine, the acting's fine. Jason looks pretty good in this. Mears did a good job portraying him. Some cool kills. Like, it's not a bad movie by any means. It just doesn't do it for me. Like, near the end of this, I was just like really losing it. Like, at one point, I just caught myself just staring at the white ceiling, like literally doing nothing, like just staring up at the ceiling. Like, like this movie's still going on. So let's fucking knock it out. We have Discount Betsy Palmer here playing Pamela Voorhees and the counselor that decapitates her. And why they even did all this, it beats me. Like, we all know the story of Friday the 13th. They could have chopped the whole first 20-25 minutes off of this, recapping the first movie and the second one with the baghead and all that, and then just start the movie with the fresh dickhead group of kids. They could have just done that, and it would have trimmed a nice 25 minutes off the runtime here, because this is a fucking Friday movie, and it's almost an hour and 40 minutes. Shouldn't be there. Take the 20 minutes out of the front of this with the whole group of kids that we never see again. The only reason that they're there is to give reason to why Whitney, the sister, was kidnapped. Could have made that like 3 fucking minutes and been done with it. But whatever, they do it. So these group of kids are looking for a pot field, and these fucking people are crazy, man. I mean, even if Jason wasn't a threat, you don't go fucking you don't go stealing people's pot that they're growing, man. Like, so most people grow marijuana like that. I don't know, like as much today since it's legal in certain states and everything, but that's not something you want to fuck around with. Like, you steal somebody's fucking pot from their fucking farm that they have planted in the middle of nowhere, you have like a 90% chance of being fucking murdered. Like, just shot dead right then and there. You don't think they have people guarding those plant fields? Like, it's a fucking science for decades and decades and decades now. You do not want to be stealing somebody's random stranger's fucking pot that's growing in the fucking woods somewhere. Like, without a doubt. First stupid decision that these people made. The second is choosing PBR over Heineken. Well, these people are fucking insane. Pabst Blue Ribbon. He's going to compare it to Heineken? I mean, Heineken's not the best beer in the world, but it's fucking better than Pabst Blue Ribbon. Whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm just going to make this video long. And then the girl and the guy, I like when she keeps like flashing her tits and like oiling herself, and he's like trying to have listen to the conversation from Weed Fred number 1, and Weed Guy number 2 is just distracted as can be. He just keeps looking over at the girl like, yeah. That's funny. Fine. There's some humor there. And then Sack Jason kills Weed Guy number 1. I don't even know what happens to him. You can't see it. And then he puts the girl in this what the fuck am I thinking of? damn, man. The sleeping bag. There you go. It's a sleeping bag. That's what it's called. It's a bag you sleep in when you go camping. That's an easy way to remember. I should do that next time. When she's hanging over the fire in the sleeping bag and she's just burnt to a crisp. And then the weed guy number 2 gets trapped in the bear trap. None of these people have names, and they won't for the rest of the movie. And then where did Jason get all those candles? Like when Whitney and her boyfriend go looking in Camp Crystal Lake and they find the fucking skeleton head in the wall. There's a shit ton of candles there, and they're not like old candles. They have a ton of wax left on them. So where's Jason buying his candles? Is there a Bed Bath & Beyond near Camp Crystal Lake that he's able to walk into only once a year on Halloween so he fits in with everybody else? I don't know, but he has way too many candles in there that are not explained on how they get there, and I want a fucking answer right now. Jason stabbing the machete through the floor. Cool. Nothing great, really. Like I said, it's just such a mediocre movie for me. Like, nothing really stands out about this movie. Like, nothing. Like, it's just such an average watch. And then he starts screaming out, like, while he's getting killed, and we see this in so many of these movies. It's like, run, Whitney, like, while he's getting killed. I mean, their boyfriend and girlfriend, of course they love each other, but what the fuck did you think I was gonna do? Like, when I see this fucking brute fucking man with a fucking mask or bag over his head killing my boyfriend, trust me, the first instincts I had was to run like hell, like into any direction away from where this is happening. So they never really need to shout out the run part, because I'm sure that's already on the minds of every person in that situation. It's time to go. He's gone. Like, it's time to just fucking call a spade. Boyfriend's dead. Time to fucking get out of there. And then the machete through the weed guy number 2's head. That's cool. That looks pretty cool, the effects on that. And then Whitney is taken away, even though it looks like she's getting a machete to the face. So why it just stops there and then goes to the present with the new group of kids? I don't know. Like, Jason just went to go hit her with the machete and then stopped, like, real fast, and then just said, oh, she looks like my mom a little bit, and then just took her captive, which is a whole nother thing with this movie. Since when has Jason ever taken someone captive and, like, held them as a prisoner for over a month? Like, none of this is Jason. Like, this movie doesn't feel like a Friday the 13th movie for me either. It just doesn't have a Friday tone to it. It just has a completely different tone that I can't even describe. Oops, hitting my fucking fan. But it doesn't feel like a Friday movie for me. And that's probably one of the biggest concerns I have with this movie. And then we get more dickheads in a group that show up. And Clay is looking for his sister, Whitney, who was fake macheted and taken at the end of the previous scene. And then Trent is the biggest piece of shit in this whole series. The character of Trent, that's like one thing I always remember about this movie. I don't remember much every time I rewatch this, is that fucking guy and how big of a fucking prick he is. The biggest piece of shit in the Friday series. Like, tell me another one, just to refresh my memory maybe, even though I just watched the entire franchise in the last few weeks. Nobody beats this guy. He is just a dick. In every scene that he's in, every line of dialogue that comes out of his mouth, everything about this guy, I just want to fucking kill him as soon as he enters the movie. And he takes way too long to die. And then the cop tells Clay that about their whole investigation for his sister, and that he had 2 10-year officers working on the case, and they were looking for miles, and they couldn't find anything anywhere. And he tells them, like, I'd suggest you go look somewhere else. Like, that's what the other families are doing. I mean, you got a cop giving you this advice. They're like, this is where they disappeared. Why would you look somewhere else? That's like if I lost a dog in a park and then said I need to board a plane to Venezuela and check there. Like, you check the park. You check the place that they were. And apparently they did that, and they didn't do a fucking good job, because Clay and Jenna, right? That's her name? Who cares? Fucking finds the GPS device that the weed guys were using from the beginning. So they didn't do a good job of searching that whole area, because they would have found that GPS, and maybe they could have fucking hacked it, tracked it, did whatever they had to do. But whole point, go look somewhere else. No, I'm gonna keep looking where my sister went missing. Like instead of like if we're in Jersey, like which is where Camp Crystal Lake's supposed to be, I'm not going to fucking California. Like she's here somewhere. Like if she's not dead. And then we have this guy fucks his mannequin. He fucks his mannequin apparently, and he lost his virginity to his mannequin because they shared that special night, and she says you took my virginity. So we have a lovely little romantic relationship here between this hillbilly guy and his fucking fuck mannequin that is just thrown in there just to be thrown in there, I guess, because it's not funny. Like it's like it's just fucking dumb, but it's there for some reason. And then Jenna goes off with Clay to go look for to put like missing posters and stuff, and to look for his sister, which I don't blame her at all. She's with that guy Trent. Why? Like, actress who plays her, tell me why. Like, I need to know, like, why this girl is dating this dickhead. Like, anybody at all, why they would date this guy at all. And Jason slits the mannequin fucker's throat, and that's how he gets his hockey mask, which is sitting in his little tool shed or whatever. And then we get the arrow through the blonde dude's head while he's driving the boat. Looks cool. I mean, some of the gore in this, it looks alright. But it just doesn't feel like a Friday film for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm this crazy one. And then the boat smashes into the girl's head, and like part of her like scalp is like ripped off or something. Like she looks fucked, man. Like her head gets really fucked up. And then she's hiding under the dock, and Jason's like slowly walking above her, and then he sticks the machete down through the dock, and it just goes right into the top of her head and pulls her out of the water, and her tits are showing and stuff. That's a cool kill. I mean, just for the fact of tits and a kill together. Good kill. And then Clay equals smart. Fucking every time I've mentioned this before. Anytime you see a fucking creepy doll in a house or fucking pinned to a house or hanging from the outside of a house, that is not the house you want to be in. You want to fucking turn around and run immediately. And as soon as he sees the creepy doll in the house with Jenna, he's like, yeah, it's time for us to go. Good job. Clay is the voice of reason here. I already said I thought Jason looks cool. Mears does a good job. Like the captive thing is just fucking weird. And then that's why you don't light alcoholic shots on fire, because you burn your fucking lip. You fucking moron, Chewie. Come on, like he had that drink on fire for like 2 minutes before he finally goes to drink it. What did he think was going to happen? Putting glass to his face, to his lips. That's why I've never gotten into the whole crazy fucking shot shit that's out there. Just stick to good old whiskey. And then Chewie had to see the tool shed to know that Trent's family was rich. Pretty sure you can just figure that out from the house. Like, that's a nice ass house. He goes into the tool shed later after he breaks the chair, which is a family heirloom of Trent's, and just him being a dick as usual. And Chewie has to go to the tool shed saying that he can fix it. And then when he gets to inside the tool shed is when he says, wow, you guys are fucking rich. It's a tool shed. I mean, yeah, I get it. He says this is like the size of a normal person's house. Pretty sure, though, he could have deduced that they had some money from the house itself. I just thought that was a very strange time to throw that line in there. And then who just jerks off in the living room in a friend's house, like when a whole bunch of people are about? The black dude. He's just chilling there, smoking a bong, chilling, having a good time, and then he's just flipping through a fucking catalog or a magazine. He's looking for a picture to jerk off to. And he finds one. It's just like a reporter in winter clothing, like waving. Which, I don't know what that's going to give him. But then all of a sudden he just starts unbuttoning his pants and his tissues are right there. Like he's about to just jerk off right on this person's couch. Like with all these other people around, and then like Jenna and Clay come in and disrupt him. He's like, oh, you scared the shit out of me. No, it's like, you just fucked up my jerk off session. But nonetheless, that's fucking weird. Come on. Like, has anybody done that? Just whipped it out and just jerked off in the middle of a guest house? Like, with a party going on, you don't know where anybody is. Like, I don't think anyone's done that. But who knows? Pee Wee Herman whipped his dick out in a movie theater, so anything's possible. And then Trent is just fucking this other chick in his bedroom. Like, it's a fucking scumbag, man. Like, and he has fucking balls, dude. That he's there with his girlfriend. Yeah, she took off with Clay for like hours, but like, still, you go for the weekend with your friends and your girlfriend, and you have the balls to fuck some other girl there. Like, really? Like, this guy is such a fucking prick. Oh, I love when he dies. And then Chewie gets the screwdriver through the neck. It looks like a screwdriver. Who the hell could tell? This movie's dark, man. Like, there is a lot of darkness in this movie. And not like in a good way. It's just too dark. It's like they could have They could have Britain this movie. Why can't I fucking speak? I'll tell you why. Because it's 6 in the morning. That's why. They couldn't have brightened this movie up a little bit. Because it is very dark throughout, like, most of it. It could have been brighter. Like, there's no reason for it to be this dark. But that's what I was saying with that. He got killed with something, a screwdriver or something, put into his neck. It looks cool. The effects look cool on it. And then we have the whole black guy dies in a horror movie cliche first. Like, doesn't happen here. And they found some great ways of getting around it in the past. Throw an Asian person in. They'll get killed first. Then you have and this black guy makes it to like past the hour mark of an hour and 40-minute almost movie. So he does pretty good for himself. But he doesn't even die first. Chewie does. The Asian one does. So for people who want to avoid black people getting killed first in their horror movies, which has been a fucking cliche for so long and just a stereotype of the genre, just throw an Asian in. I mean, they can't drive, so they can't be that much better at running away. I mean, and don't get crazy, Asian people watching. You're great at math, so it balances it out. But have them get killed first, and then kill whoever you want after that. Then you don't have to deal with that whole cliche. So Chewie's dead, black guy's dead, and the girl gets her head impaled on again, so dark, fucking a deer head, it looked like deer horns, like on a deer head on the wall. Something on the wall. There's something on the wall that's sharp, and her head gets impaled onto it. And that's basically what happens with her, and don't even remember her name, because she's not worth remembering. And the cop shows up, and then the cop dies, like, instantly afterwards, so there was no reason for any of that, for the cop to show up. And then Trent's scream when the body gets thrown from the house and falls on the cop car, that's fucking hysterical. Like, that's like the one funny thing from this movie. Like, maybe one of the few things that I can laugh at, like, thinking about it afterwards. His scream is fucking hysterical. Especially with the dickhead that he is throughout this whole movie and his whole persona and everything about him. That scream is fucking... That's so funny. That shit is hysterical. And then he gets stabbed through the chest and placed on the back of the truck. Is that the old dude missing his legs from Texas Chainsaw 3? The old guy driving that truck that Trent gets killed in front of and then pinned on the back of? It looked just like him. The guy who has no legs, and in the beginning, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, we find out that Leatherface cut his legs off and shit. Looked just like him. I'm not sure. And since Nispel directed that remake, wouldn't surprise me if he used the same actor. So it looked just like the old dude from Texas Chainsaw 3. And then Jason lives in the ground in tunnels now, I guess. All right. And then they free Whitney. And this is where I was starting to drift off into nothingness. So it kind of just ends. Like, Jason and Clay fight and do stuff. That's the note there. Then more mom psychology on Jason from Whitney with the locket works. So I guess, like, the whole reason he kidnapped her is because she reminds him of his mother, which, again, we've never seen in any of these movies. So I don't know where they came up with that, why they put it in there, or why they chose any of that for any part of this movie. But it does absolutely nothing for me. And then they kill Jason, and then you wouldn't want to call the cops, like, after all that. You just dump Jason's body in the lake. Because you motherfuckers are getting blamed for, like, all those murders. And I say this all the time with these type of movies, but especially with this. I mean, you gotta fucking, like, this seems like it's in the middle of nowhere, but if you were in, like, a major city that, like, or they could just send the lab work out or whatever. But you have a house filled with people that are fucking brutally killed. One of them has Trent Seaman in it, which isn't the fucking girlfriend. And what happened to Jenna? She died when they were in the tunnels? I completely blanked out on that. She's gone, right? Because she's not at the end of the movie. So she's fucking dead somehow. And that sucks. That was like one of the only characters I care about in this movie. Her and Clay. Pretty much that's it. And but they'll do fucking autopsies. They'll do all that shit. They'll be like, oh, and then blame it on Jenna if she was still alive. Be like, oh, you were trying to get revenge on your boyfriend for having an affair, huh? And then you had this guy Clay is obsessed with finding his sister and obsessed with this Jason Voorhees guy. You guys all killed him together and stuff. It was a whole plan of yours. Like you can't chance any of that. You got to keep Jason alive. Or call the cops, have them come and fucking deal with it. Don't just throw him under the fucking water like I Know What You Did Last Summer style, because he's just gonna come back a year from now. And he's gonna rain terror like he always does. And then we get a stupid fucking jump scare at the end with Jason breaking through the fucking dock again, and that's the end of the movie. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I love Friday the 13th, the whole series. Most of it. Like, Jason X didn't have a real Friday tone to it, but that movie's so over the top and ridiculous that it has its own feeling to it, and it doesn't really need to feel like a full-on Friday movie. Jason Goes to Hell, terrible Friday movie, but I said on this last rewatch with the video I did for it, pretty damn good body horror movie. Like, it's not that terrible. Then we have The First 8, which is nostalgic as shit because I grew up with them. And Freddy vs. Jason has not so much a Friday tone, more of a nightmare tone because, I mean, just because Freddy is so prevalent in it. And like in the Nightmare series, we already have brutal killings like we have in Friday. In the Friday series, we don't have nightmares and shit like that. So I feel like Freddy vs. Jason is more like a Nightmare on Elm Street film in tone. This is like the only one that it should feel like a Friday, but it doesn't. For me. And I've just never cared for it. Never cared for it in the theater when I saw it. Never cared for it for the few rewatches. I've given it chances here and there. Liked it less and less, and this time I could barely get through the end of it. Like, it's just, like I said at the beginning, it's not bad by any means. It's not a terrible film. It's not a bad movie at all. It's just one that I just see as very, very, very mediocre. Very average, very generic, nothing new that's worth it in any way, and just not a good remake. Like, none of the big franchises, slasher franchises, have good remakes, except for Texas Chainsaw, in my opinion. Halloween, the Rob Zombie's remake, I like. I love H2, which is a hugely unpopular opinion, but I will get to that next month. And Child's Play, the remake, I didn't like at all. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake is terrible. And that's basically it. Like, what other major slasher films do we have? Franchises. We had Chucky, which I mentioned, Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw. That's pretty much it. And just most of these franchises should just, honestly, they should just be done with by now. Like, there's nothing more they can do with Halloween. There's not. Like, but they will. Halloween ends? Yeah, bullshit. If Halloween ain't ending this Halloween. 20 years from now, we're going to have Laurie Strode and Michael Myers in a fucking retirement home playing a game of chess against each other. And, like, they're playing for stakes, and the winner gets the kill. And fucking, like, that's going to be Halloween. Who the fuck knows what? 60 years later or some shit. And they're going to keep milking that. Getting Scream, that shit should have been canceled right after the first movie. People know how I feel about Scream. Friday, I feel like there's not much they can do with that either anymore. Texas Chainsaw, same thing. After the last few movies we got out of that franchise. And Chucky, Child's Play, I think is the only one that's still going. The first season of the TV series was excellent. I can't wait for the second one next month. I'm sure it'll be awesome also. So that one franchise that is just perfect, except for the remake. But from just all of Don Mancini's involvement, from the first movie all the way through the TV series, they still have places they can go with Chucky. The rest of them, not really. Maybe Freddy. I could see them still able to take Freddy's character in certain directions if they chose like the right scripts and the right ideas for a nightmare movie. I think that probably has the best chance out of all the horror franchises, and like the huge ones that I've mentioned, of getting like further installments that actually could be at least decent, if not interesting, and quite possibly good. For the rest of them, I think it's just time to cut it off. Just cut them all off and fucking just time to move on. Like, start making new fucking horror franchises. I mean, people have been. Just keep on doing that. Can't live in the past forever, guys. Sure, we all love the 80s, even those of us who were in wombs near the end of them. But we still love the 80s and 70s. We're always going to love those movies. There's only so much that they can keep going on. At this point, just fucking start anew. And that's what I'm going to leave you with tonight. I'm going to watch some Twin Peaks since I just bought myself the whole collection, the whole series for my birthday. So I'm going to watch some Twin Peaks, which I adore. And I was going to start the video off with this, and I always forget half the shit I want to say when I'm on here. Anyone who made it to the end of this and is a Twin Peaks fan, ideas on how to eventually, down the road, cover and discuss Twin Peaks. Because after doing the video on Eraserhead, that shit was hard. Like, that was a hard fucking video and movie to discuss. But I'll be doing all of Lynch's films, but specifically Twin Peaks, since it's a series. I'm thinking of how to go about that. Like, if I should, episode by episode seems like a lot of work. And it just seems like there would be short videos too. So, like, maybe just like a long form video on season 1, then like a part 1 and 2 long form on 2, and the same thing for the return. Maybe something like that, I'm thinking. Or a live stream or something like that in the near future when I'm confident more than like 4 people will tune in, or like something like that. Like some type of way to discuss Twin Peaks, the series. And of course, Firewalk with Me, which will be covered around that same time. But this is like a future thing. This isn't any time in the next month or 2, but just trying to get ideas of how to go about that. But alright guys, this is it for the night for me. It is 6 a.m. exactly almost. I'm going to watch some Twin Peaks and relax. So thanks for tuning in as always, and wherever you're from, hope you're having a good morning, good night, and take care.